underwater cities, unexplained anomalies, and giant eels. You want it? I've got it. Let's check it out. Starting off our list today, we have Cuba's underwater city, the remains of a 12-acre city sitting at a depth of roughly 8,380 meters. In 2001, sonar scans off the coast of Cuba revealed that the seafloor was littered with geometric structures that could very well be the remains of a lost ancient city. And some experts even claim that using the same technology they were able to identify the presence of a pyramid as well as a large sculpture of a sphinx sitting on the ocean floor. While it might be a bit far out there are some people who are claiming that Cuba's underwater city might actually be the lost city of Atlantis, which in its heyday was said to have held great knowledge and power as well as a great power source. Perhaps that source sank within the city, causing the electromagnetic activity in the area to go haywire, which might explain the 40 ships and 20 airplane disappearances in the area. I mean, it could be nothing. After the initial reports documenting the find were released, there were no follow-up reports or expeditions, but on the other hand, there probably were follow-up expeditions and it's just a cover-up. Next up, we've got the shark snacker. In 2014, it was discovered that something was attacking and eating great white sharks off the coast of southwest Australia. Scientists were alerted of the strange phenomenon after the research tag of a great white suddenly and quickly dove down to 1,903 feet into the depths of the ocean. Not only that, but the temperature of the tag actually increased as it made its descent from 46 to 78 degrees Fahrenheit. The only likely explanation for the fast descent paired with an increase in temperature was that the great white, the apex predator of the ocean, had been eaten by something bigger, faster, and stronger than it. Two theories emerged as to what kind of animal could have done this. One, it was an orca, also known as a killer whale, which are known to be incredibly aggressive and also twice as long and 3 times heavier than great whites. Or two, that it was a much larger undiscovered shark with an appetite not far off from Dahmer's. Next up, the Devil's Sea, aka the Asian Bermuda Triangle, located in Japan's corner of the Pacific Ocean. In 2014 and 2015, 2 separate passenger planes carrying a total of over 250 people crashed over the waters of the Devil's Sea for no known reason. This prompted people to look into the history of the area, and when they did, they discovered that the disappearance of the 2 aircrafts were not an isolated incident. In fact, in the 1950s, many large vessels disappeared under mysterious circumstances in the waters as well, with 9 of those disappearances occurring in the span of just 4 years. Because of this, the Japanese government decided to send out a military ship to investigate. Whatever it found, we will never know, because it also disappeared. For whatever reason, the Devil's Sea just sucks up ships and planes down into its watery depths. Perhaps the area is a gateway to hell, as the name implies, or possibly it's electromagnetically charged, or maybe full of sea serpents, or maybe all 3. Whatever the reason, you will not catch me there. Next up, we have the Submarine Disappearances of 1968. Between the months of January and May, 4 submarines from different countries went missing, lost to the deep sea. The first to go down was the Israeli INS Dakar, which disappeared in January in the Mediterranean Sea along with its crew of 69 men. 2 days later, a French submarine, the Minerva, and its crew of 52 men disappeared in the same region. Later, a Soviet nuclear sub with a crew of 98 disappeared in the South Pacific, and after that, another Soviet nuclear sub sank down to the bottom of the North Atlantic Sea. In 1999, the first wreck, the INS Dakar, was found, but it is debated whether or not the sub sank after descending past its abilities or being taken out by opposing forces. The rest of the wrecks remain a complete mystery, but in 1974, the CIA did recover pieces of one of the Soviet nuclear subs, but when asked about their findings, their answers consisted solely of, "We can neither confirm nor deny." So, cover up, I guarantee it. Speaking of mysterious disappearances, we've covered subs, ships, planes, but how about the disappearance of an entire island? Prior to the 18th century, the small island of Bermeja, or Bermeja. I'm sorry guys, I don't know how to pronounce that. Anyways, it was widely featured on maps of the Yucatan Peninsula, which separates the Gulf of Mexico from the Caribbean Sea. However, the depiction of the island slowly started disappearing in the 1700s, with the last confirmed appearance of the island being depicted on a map created in 1921. While you might believe the existence of the island to have been a myth created by ancient cartographers, Mexico actually confirmed the existence of the island and even made 3 attempts to locate its remains in 2009. The missions were unsuccessful, but hope is still out there that one day it will be found. There are 2 main theories surrounding why the island might have disappeared in the first place. 1. Rising sea levels caused the low-lying island to sink, and 2. The CIA blew it up because the areas surrounding it were rich in oil and Americans wanted to improve their claim over the area. 2 very different theories, but I want to know which one sounds the most likely to you. We know which one sounds the most likely to me, but let me know your thoughts down below. Next up, we've got aquatic megafauna, gigantic animals that exist within the unexplored depths of the ocean. Although many marine species remain undiscovered, there are a few species of massive aquatic life that we do know of, other than whales and sharks, of course. Both the giant squid and the colossal squid come to mind. The largest giant squid ever recorded measured in to be 43 feet long and weighed in to be almost 1,000 pounds, but it's said that they can measure up to 66 feet and weigh well over 1,000 pounds. The largest recorded colossal squid ever found measured in at just under 43 feet, but weighed over 1,000 pounds at 1,091. But like the giant squid, it is believed that they can grow to be much larger. Both animals have 3 hearts, 8 arms, and 2 tentacles. The giant squid's 8 arms are covered in sharp, serrated suction cups, and the colossal squid suckers are equipped with strong, sharp hooks. Needless to say, you wouldn't want to run into either one. Considering these guys were found with only 5% of the ocean having been explored, I can only imagine what other kinds of gigantic, mysterious creatures we'll find if we keep looking. And I suggest we keep looking. Speaking of giant things in the ocean, let's talk about the Stronsay Beast. In 1808, a massive aquatic animal carcass washed up on the shores of Stronsay in Scotland, measuring up to 55 feet in length, even with part of its tail missing. Originally, scientists assumed that the carcass had been that of a large shark, but upon closer inspection it became clear that whatever creature they were looking at had paw-like appendages instead of fins, and so it was decided that the animal was a new species. Since its original discovery back in the 1800s, the animal has not been seen, but maybe one day, if we look hard enough, we'll once again find the creature that likely gave way to tales of Loch Ness monsters. From monsters to aliens. It's a NASA video. We had to include at least one point paying homage to our friends from afar. I mean, I hope they're friendly. There is one distinct structure that comes to mind when you combine the topics of aliens and the deep sea, 2 of my favorite, and that is the Baltic Sea anomaly. The anomaly was originally discovered in 2011 by sonar imaging by the Sweden Ocean X diving team while they were hunting for treasure on the floor of the northern Baltic Sea. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell you that the thing looks like a UFO. The formation seen on the bottom of the seafloor is structured and purposeful, with patterns along the stair-like structures along the sides and top of the, what I'm assuming to be a spacecraft. As far as the public knows, it has only ever been explored using radar, but I have a feeling at least a few people have been down there and are either holding the truth about what they found incredibly close to their chest, or they were killed as soon as they made it back up to the surface. Either one, it's possible. Next up, we have the Jacuzzi of Despair, a deadly lake located at the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico. The Jacuzzi has a circumference of about 100 feet and it reaches a depth of about 12. So, how is it that there is a small body of water separated from the ocean located over 3,000 feet below the surface? Well, I'll tell you. The Jacuzzi is actually something called a brine pool, a pocket of water 5 times saltier than the surrounding seawater, so dense that it refuses to mix with its surroundings. Not only that, but brine pools also create the perfect condition for methane gas and hydrogen sulfide to thrive. So although this underwater pool might look cool, anything that is unfortunate enough to enter into its divided waters will most certainly die, and that includes you and me, so let's avoid it. And finally, to finish off our list today, we have Leptocephalus Giganteus, but we're just gonna call it Lep because whoever named that thing kinda sucks. I'm looking at you, Peter Henry John Castle. The Lep is an extremely rare species of eel that was discovered in 1959, which was super lucky because the species is known to regularly inhabit the deep depths and it's rarely ever seen. 2 specimens of the species have been studied, but only in their larva baby phase. And given that eel larvae are generally only 1/32 of their adult life, the fact that one of these specimens measured in at 6 feet long is crazy. And it means it's possible that adults of the species inhabiting the deep can grow to be up to 192 feet long, which would make it the longest aquatic animal, or longest animal altogether for that matter, known to man, far surpassing the lion's mane jellyfish, which is the previous record holder should this turn out to be true. It measures in at 120 feet in length. Blue whale, just for reference, measures in at only 98 feet. Pretty wild stuff. Alright you guys, that is our video for today. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host Hannah Thompson, and I will catch you in the next one.